Oh my God.
Hi.
This makes me think of the first episode we recorded where you thought you were going to eat through it.
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we forgot to get our boba, but we're hoping that Nicole Chen will just let it slide and still talk boba time with us.
I am Karin from Boba Time.
And I am Mandy from Belterra.
You looked a little confused for a second.
Because I had a alert pop up and it perfectly covered where I'm from.
Oh, of course
Like
it did.
perfectly on my laptop screen. So I was like, oh my God, I forgot where I'm from. And it's not in front of my face. Oh
Yeah,
no.
we're not good with memory. All right, our least favorite part of the program. In our timeline, it is May 11th, and in y'all's timeline, it is May 19th. And my mother said the absolute worst thing to me the other day. She said that we are almost halfway through the year, and I'm not okay with this.
Do you realize that after today, we have 2 more episodes to record this season?
This half season, yeah, before summer break.
Well, yeah, but this before summer break.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Wild. I guess we should let the listeners know that.
Oh, yeah.
Summer break is
announcement. Yeah. So after this episode, there will be 2 more episodes, and then we will be taking a few weeks off for summer break, so that we don't burn out. And then we'll come back. I don't have the date written down. August something. It's after August 9th because that's when my daughter starts school. So sometime in August we'll be back. I'll have those dates for you next week. But yeah, we need a little bit of a break from recording.
I'm not as exhausted as I was last season, but it's
Yes.
because it's shorter and we're taking a break, so I'm excited.
Yes, we planned better. We learned
Yeah.
the first season's always the roughest one with anything.
Yeah.
So we learned that we can't go every week for the entire year. So we planned ahead. We planned ahead. We will have a summer break. We will have a winter break, and it'll be good. We won't burn out. It'll be great.
Yes.
All right.
100%.
Yeah. Oh my God. It'll be so nice. All right. Let's head into it. This week in fangirling, what'd you do, Mandy?
I finished Silver in the Bone by Alexander Bracken. So a reminder, it deals with Avalon and King Arthur and a lot of legends and lore related to them. I'm still a little confused. It had a very sad ending to me. And I have so many questions that it felt so abrupt. The ending felt so abrupt that it was like, are there supposed to be a couple more chapters? Did you mean to just never mention this thing again? But it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm not knocking on it. It was just, I feel kind of how you talked about with Anatomy. I feel like it's not complete, but not in the way of, oh, well, there's just a cliffhanger for the next book. I feel like the book didn't get to finish, but it's okay. I have had a hell week at my job, but I did manage to sneak in watching Vanderpump Rules.
Of course you did.
Rachel continues to suck. Sandoval continues to suck. Schwartz continues to suck. This episode, they are all at a restaurant after a preview of another restaurant, and Rachel thinks that she turns and somebody's mother is telling her something that she did was shitty, and she's trying to explain to her this is why people think, and she snaps at her. And let me tell you something. If someone spoke to my mother that way, they would be relieved of their throat immediately.
It would be on site.
So props to Katie, because it was Katie's mother. Props to Katie for keeping her hands to herself, because I would have, I'm not confrontational. I would take somebody's throat out of their body with my bare hands if they spoke to my mother like that in front of me, like that. So yeah, next week is the finale. Next week is where all of the shit is going to hit the fan. And then apparently there's going to be 3 reunion episodes because it was so much, and I'm here for it.
All right.
Then I read Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. So it's the cutest thing. It was so nostalgic for me. So we have Ama Torres is the main character, and she's a wedding planner extraordinaire. She worked for the most notable wedding planner in Sacramento, Whitney Harrison. But she has kind of broken off to do her own thing. She's she's not like major leagues like this Whitney lady was. She does smaller but nice events. So she's not like doing $1 million wedding for Chris Pine. I don't know, like an A-list star. I don't know. She's not doing like celebrity weddings, but she's doing like nicer weddings than I could afford. So she does well for herself. So one day a former client of hers recommends her to Hazel Renee, who is like a major influencer. She's all over TikTok and Instagram. Everybody knows who she is. And she has an insane budget that is like so high that I could never have dreamed of working on this. Somehow, after like 30 seconds of sitting in front of her talking, Hazel is like, yeah, I want to hire you. Because Amma has this like personality where people, like everyone wants to be friends with her. And like Whitney, her former boss, is always like, you can't get close to the clients. You make it too personal. You have to be a professional, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we want you to come to the bachelorette party. We want you to come, to the wedding shower. We want you, like, we want to hang out when we get back. So it's chaotic. And she can't believe that she's booked this dream job. Like this is going to get her on the knot. This is going to get her on people. This is going to get her like to that next level where she wants to be. But there's only one problem. Hazel and her fiance Jackie have their hearts set on the florist being Blooming, which is owned by Elliot Bloom, Mama's ex. Her hot ex, her covered in endangered flowers, tattooed and long-haired Adam Driver Roy Kent ex.
Love child.
Who knows his way around flowers. So their relationship did not end well at all. In fact, they can't even they don't even look at each other. If they have to be in the same room for meetings with Hazel, they are professional, but they won't look at each other. He kind of, just grunts because Amma is sunshine, which makes Elliot the grump. So it's a second chance romance. So of course we all know where it's heading. It gave me so many flashbacks because I used to be a wedding videographer for a few years, and so like that behind the scenes of of the couple's perfect day where it's, oh my god, we can't tell the bride, but the florist just got in a car accident and she's fine, but she's got to go to the ER and get checked out, but all of her flowers are stuck in the middle of the interstate. That happened at my sister's wedding. Or this button snapped. Like I started carrying a little emergency kit as the freaking videographer with a needle and thread and band-aids and aspirin and like random little double-sided tape. So that hustle and bustle, like while a wedding is going on, was like so cool to read because it's like I've been there. And like sneaking, there was at every wedding that has like past appetizers and hors d'oeuvres, there is one person on staff, one who is like, all of those people working are the hungry ones, and so they're the ones that'll come up next to you and they're like, hey, videographer, you want a crab cake? And they are the elite. They are the elite of humanity. I hope that they wake up tomorrow with $50,000 in their bank accounts just because. Anyways, there was this is like one of my favorite parts. Okay. There was a 4 Seasons total landscaping joke. Do you get it? She's like, this wedding is at the 4 Seasons and her bestie is like, 4 Seasons or 4 Seasons total landscaping? And she's like, I Googled it 4 times to make sure. I was like, oh my god.
That's amazing.
I was like, I cannot handle this. And then there's one scene where this isn't spoilery. She gets she gets sick and I don't even remember why she gets sick, but I think she might be hungover. She's sick to her stomach and she hasn't eaten. And so somebody brings her a Gatorade and it's a yellow Gatorade. And you're like, and she's like, before you even think, she's not going to thank them because that's a yellow Gatorade. Yellow Gatorade is my favorite. Yellow Gatorade? That seems like a crime. So she went on this, there was a speech about the merits of yellow Gatorade, which I don't know about that. I'm not going to drink that unless I'm dehydrated on the way to the hospital. But anyways, it was very good. It was a very good balance of like a grumpy sunshine rom-com and some nastiness for the ladies. But I enjoyed it. I posted a blog just a little bit ago, so if you want to read more about my thoughts, it's on our blog. I haven't gotten very far, but I started The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Mahurin. This is Seeley's book. So far, I still don't like Jean-Luc. I think he's a douchebag. And I hope that changes. I'm just so freaking excited to be back in Belterra.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in the like where all of the Chaucers stay. Like I don't remember Saint Cecile, I think is the name of the church. So yeah, I'm really excited. What? What?
I'm just thinking about it. Like I can't wait to dig into it.
I know. I
I
know.
can't. I'm so excited.
My husband is going to be TDY next week, which means he's going to be out of town. And I was like, I'm going to be so freaking useless to society. There's going to be no one here to be like, should we go outside? Should we go here? Like, should we get some fresh air? Should we eat something? So, yeah, I'm going to be a waste of space in the best way next week because he's not going to be here to remind me to be a not garbage human, which he does because I need that and I love him. And then last but not least, we went and saw actually no first I need to talk about bookstore date. I've talked about
I
all the
was
things I've
waiting.
read. I was thinking about I was in my mind I was like I'll talk about that and where my money went, but no, I need to give you the experience. So I decided Thursday during the day I think that I was going to take off on Friday. I was like I've got too many like random odd things to do, so I took off. I'm running some errands. I got a new outfit for bookstore date, and as I'm driving I see a sign that my town has their used book sale today that day, and so I'm like, you know what, I got time to kill. Now theirs is always like drastically smaller than, the one that you and I went to. But I was like, I'll go. I got one book. I got a book for my brother. It really wasn't that exciting, but it was the day of books. So Josh gets home. We get the twins. We get them to my sister. We head up. It takes us so long to get up there because of traffic. We hit Jim and Nick's barbecue and get some smoked turkey to take with us. And then we get to Read It Again books in Smyrna. They are like locking the door to everyone else as we get there, and they're like, oh, you guys must be our date. So the store is kind of U-shaped. There's like a wall that goes through half of it, and then like the register is up front between the two. So in one half they have most of the lights turned off, and they're like, if you guys would follow us. And they have a table, which I'll post pictures of. They have a table set up with candles and a bottle of sparkling wine and little like wine glasses, and there are like all over the bookshelves around it there's candles and twinkle lights, and they're like, we're gonna leave you guys alone. We'll be up there if you guys want. And I was like, am I gonna be able to buy books? And she was like, oh, of course, we're gonna be here. The register's open. Here's a scavenger hunt you can do, but you guys have free run of the bookstore.
Oh my God.
So we ate, and I know like I can't. They put on music. So we ate, and then we did like, oh, then I was like, they had a scavenger hunt. I was like, let's do that. And Josh was like, first, let's buy you some books. So I picked out 4 books, which I'll show off in a little bit. But then we did the scavenger hunt, and it was so fun for me. But also challenging because there was one question that was like, find your favorite fictional character. And so I was like, shatter me. Like, where's Aaron? They didn't have shatter me. So then I was like, Lorcan. They didn't have any of the Throne of Glass books. But then I turn around and I see the Cruel Prince. So I'm like, my boy Cardin Greenbrier, he's here. Cardin. So I actually like went through the bookstore, okay, and it would be like a restaurant you want to cook together, something that'll make your date laugh, blah blah blah. And I like found a book with your name on it. I did it all. My date decides that he's gonna go to a few books and he's gonna, try and find. I think his favorite series, he found Goosebumps, or his favorite author or something. He found Goosebumps because he's not a reader.
Yeah.
But then he just starts Googling and writing down things that he found on Google. And it's like, why I oughta. They had a typewriter where one of the things on the scavenger hunt was that you had to type a poem on the typewriter. It was wonderful. It came like the experience was you get 2 arcs. So I picked out 2, and then we were talking to I think it was the owner, and Josh is way more outgoing than me. I'm sitting here talking on a podcast, but it's because nobody's looking at me but you. And Angie later. But like, I'm not outgoing. Like, I'm very shy. I don't. And so he is like over there. He's like, she's got a podcast. It's called The Incoherent Fangirl. And I was like, yeah, I've been talking about this for a few weeks and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, yeah, she even took the day off so that she could be ready when it was time to leave because we had a drive. And the person we were talking to was like, wait, what do you mean you had a drive? And we're like, oh yeah, we're from Macon. And she was like, that is so far. Get another arc right now. So I got 3 arcs and 4 books and 2 scavenger hunts and a poem. Josh loved his poem there, but it was just so wonderful. And then like as we're leaving, he like skirts into a Starbucks because the man knows how to treat his wife. So it was
A
perfect. It was
dream.
perfect. She said that several bookstores in Atlanta do something similar. So I'm gonna have to go on like a bookstore date hop, apparently, so that
Yes.
I can get the
Oh,
experience from all of them.
I love it.
That would be a cool thing to do this summer. And then last but not least, we went and saw Guardians.
I haven't
Have you
seen it
seen it
yet.
yet?
No. It's
Okay. The
been
only thing I'll say then is the one you already know is if you are an animal lover, go in. It's hard. It's hard to watch. Josh and I both at points thought we were going to throw up. It was so upsetting. So, trigger warning. That's the only thing I'll say. Trigger warning for animal cruelty. And I feel like there should be a trigger warning for a little bit of child cruelty too. So, be prepared. It's not an easy watch. And that's all we'll say. We'll talk about it when Karin gets to go.
I want you to tell the
What did you?
listeners what you overheard as you were walking out, though.
Oh, okay. Okay. I can tell that. So we are leaving. Of course, we've stayed for the end credits and all of the non-fans are trickling out, whatever. But there's still like a half a theater full of people. So we leave the theater and Josh is like, hey, I'm gonna use the bathroom. And so I'm just kind of standing there on my phone. And there's these three dude bros, and they're like Marvel dude bros standing outside the theater talking about the movie. And you can tell they've just come out of it. They're pointing at the theater. Oh, it was so good. Oh my God, this is great. That Peter Gunn is such a legendary director, and he like making movies like this. He is just so legendary. And I don't know how my stomach and lungs did not explode from standing there trying to make myself not laugh. Like I have a blister inside of my cheek from chewing on my cheek to not cackle. Peter Gunn, are you kidding me? Peter Gunn, legendary outlaw.
I've been thinking about this since you
by
posted
the time
about
we
it.
got to the car and I could I couldn't I barely made it to the car before I just like screeched at Josh. And the dude, one of them had come out and he had like a truck that was like 5 different colors, and he like gets in it and he's like swaggery. He thinks that he is like God's greatest gift. You know the type. And he slams his truck door shut and he's like sashaying around and he turns it on and like squeaks his tires as he's trying to get out of his parking spot. You don't even know how to drive. You don't know a director's like you don't know anything. Peter Gunn.
I would have been standing there and be
It was
like,
terrible.
I prefer the work of James Gunn personally.
Yeah.
And just be like,
This is where I wish I was more outgoing because I probably I wanted to be like, hey, that was a good movie, huh? So that they could be like, hush up, little girl. And I'd be like, oh, at least I know James Gunn is. Okay.
And his brother Sean.
Dummies. Okay, so to be fair, I do have to say, I just made that connection recently because I didn't know Sean Gunn had a name that wasn't Kirk. It's just Kirk's in space today. What's Kirk doing over here? I didn't know he had a name. I feel like Draco Malfoy. I didn't know he could read. So I just recently made that connection, but I also didn't scream about,
Yeah.
anything else. I don't know. I didn't like
Yeah.
assert my knowledge about him. I just was like, that's Kirk. Silly old Kirk. Now he's with the Guardians.
I mean, to be
Crazy
fair, at least you would have been accurate.
Yeah, Peter Gunn. Put that on my gravestone. Oh my Lord. Anyways, what'd you do this week?
So I have a few books that I read. The first one is Ellie Engel Saves Herself by Leah Johnson. This is her middle grade debut. Ellie is your average middle schooler, content to be a background player, but her best friend Abby loves being in the spotlight. Ellie doesn't mind this because as long as she's got her bestie by her side and a comic book in her hand, she's set. On the morning of the first day of middle school, Ellie and Abby are woken up by an earthquake, which is kind of weird because they live in small town Plainsboro where earthquakes don't happen. As the day goes on, Ellie kind of realizes, she's developed the ability to bring dead things back to life with a touch. And then when a video of Ellie accidentally using her powers goes viral, she kind of gets shoved into the spotlight. And not only does she now have to figure out how to survive middle school, she also has to figure it out while the paparazzi are camped out on her front lawn. An international pop star wants her to use her powers on live TV, and she might also be in love with her best friend. Poor thing.
Oh no, that's a lot to deal with.
That's a lot to deal with as a newly minted seventh grader. So, yikes. So I've had Leah Johnson's YA books on my TBR for a while. But of course, the first thing I end up reading of hers is her middle grade debut because
Middle
apparently
grade.
that's who I am as a person. I loved this book. It was full of like comic book references. It gave me like Kamala Khan vibes. I was like, how do I pronounce it?
Yeah.
Because she's a kid who has just discovered she has
Fangirl.
powers. Yeah, and she's a fangirl,
Yeah.
and it's great. It has a lot of like things aren't always what they seem kind of vibes, and I think it's a great story for kids who are like trying to figure out life during a period of like a big change. Like she's starting seventh grade and she's got all these
Mhm.
new things happening, but I feel like it's a good story for kids, so I enjoyed it. Next thing I read was Jonna Goes Wild by Farah Heron. This is kind of like a standalone sequel to Camila Knows Best. We met Jonna in the first book, where she was Camila's arch nemesis turned friend. And Jonna herself, she's always kind of stayed within her comfort zone. She's always done what's expected of her. And the one time that she didn't stay in her comfort zone, the one time she like branched out, she ended up with a broken heart and a baby on the way. So didn't really work out so well for her.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Whew.
But now it's 5 years later, and she's on her way to Tanzania to be a bridesmaid for Camila's wedding. And basically, everybody that she knows is going to be there, including her potential new employer and her ex. Luckily,
Ugh.
Anil, who is her ex, is a great dad. They're able to co parent pretty well, even if she'd rather not interact with him at all. And
Yeah.
Jonna is very determined to prove that she's like over him, that he doesn't really have any effect on her. So she decides to go wild, which doesn't really make sense to me. Like the logic, I don't get, but romance reasons. So we'll go with it.
Hey, yeah.
Anyways, as she's letting her guard down, she finds herself battling less against the attraction that she still has towards Anil. And possibly, could this be like a second chance? Could they actually be a family? We don't know. I mean, we probably know because it's a romance, but we don't know.
Yeah. We don't know how it'll get there.
Yeah. So when I first heard about this book, it hit a little bit close to home as a single mom. But don't worry, I love reading second chance romances. I will not be living them. This book, we talked about it last week, how we need more like girl friendship, like relationships and
Mhm.
better representation of that. And this book had like the best girl gang in it, or as they called themselves, the bridesmaid brigade. And
Hey.
they were all there for Jonna, like no questions asked. They dropped like literally there's one part where Jonna's talking to, oh gosh, I forgot his name, but it's Camila's new husband, and because they've been friends for like since they were all children, the three of them. And so she's talking to him and she's like, and he was like, hey, do you want to get the girls together? Camila could probably get everybody here in like half an hour. And she's like, I mean, you can try, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Within the half hour, everybody was there. Like they
Oh, yeah.
dropped everything.
Yeah.
So it was great to see that. There's also a strained mother-daughter relationship between Jonna and her mom, which again hits very close to home for me. and they kind of go through the ringer, but they do come out the other side better for it. And it's really nice to see because you can see how frustrated Jonna is throughout the book.
Yeah.
And then when she finally has that moment with her mom, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it. It's so good. It was so good. And it's like, just imagine falling in love again with the first and only person you've ever truly loved with the backdrop of the Serengeti. And you guys get to be a family again, or for the first time since you've never been a family. And
Yeah.
the romance is so good. It's so good. I loved it. And then I read This Is Why We Lie by Gabriella Lepore. Jenna and Adam find Colleen's body floating in the water off the shore of their small town. Their community is shaken because it's a small town. Everybody knows each other. But it gets even worse when they find out it's not like an accidental drowning. Jenna's best
Oh,
friend
no.
becomes the prime suspect. And so Jenna kind of takes it upon herself to figure out what happened to clear her friend's name. Everybody has a secret, and Jenna and Adam's respective friend groups at Preston Prep and Rookwood Reform School are kind of, they're all involved and everybody is lying, and it's drama.
I love it.
Um,
I love it already.
it's great. And listen, I can usually tell like where a story is going to go. I'm pretty good at guessing like the twist endings or the surprises. I could not tell you until the moment it was revealed who the killer was in this book. It was so well done. I was like, "What? Am I just
What?
am I just dumb or like is was this really good?" But like
It
looking
was really
back on
good.
it, looking back on it, there were like so many clues planted that I'm just like, how did I not see
You're gonna read
this?
it again later and you're gonna be like, it
Yeah,
was so
like it's
obvious.
so obvious, but it's not when you were going through it for the
I
first time.
love
So
that.
it was so good. I loved it.
Yeah.
The Empress of Time by Kylie Lee Baker. It's the sequel to The Keeper of Night. I'm gonna try and be vague so I don't spoil the first book. But basically, Ren has become something that she never expected to be by doing something that she kind of can't forgive herself for. And it's kind of still haunting her. And as she's trying to like right her wrongs, she gets some kind of scary news that the English Reapers have been spotted in Japan. And it turns out that Ivy, who is like the High Reaper in England that she accidentally injured and was the reason why she ran away to Japan in the first place, is out to get revenge. And she's
Oh,
gonna
lovely.
tear through all of Japan to do it. No, but everybody, all the collateral damage, she doesn't care. She's coming for her. And so Ren has decided that her only hope is to call upon the Japanese god of storms and seas in order to like capsize Ivy's ship before she gets to Japan. But he's only going to help her if she finds like a millennia old sword that's been lost for thousands of years. And she's just like, well, fuck.
Why,
She's
you
joined.
think I can do it?
Right. She's joined on her journey by a new face and then a couple of old faces, and she kind of needs to learn who she can trust and who's scheming behind her back, and it's very well done. I really enjoyed it. I loved this duology so much. The representation for mixed-race individuals is there. It's excellent. There's so much Japanese mythology, and it was really cool for me after reading Momo Arashima Steals the Sword of the Wind, because there were like a lot of familiar names
Mhm.
from there. So that was very cool. Ren's character growth is excellent. Nevin, her brother, is Bae. I love him. And there's some fun, like, I support women's wrongs, but I also support I support women's rights, but I also support women's
Oh, I
wrongs
was
vibes.
I was
You
with you
got
on the
one. Yeah.
wrongs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vibes are there and it's excellent and I loved it. And I'm so excited that I got an arc of Kylie's next book. Like, I can't wait.
Yay.
Almost done. The Last One to Fall by Gabriella Lepore just came out this week. It follows Savannah and Jesse, who have known each other since they were kids, and they're also next door neighbors. So when Savannah gets like a cryptic text in the middle of the night from Jesse asking her to meet him at old warehouse that the kids use to like party, she doesn't really question it that much. She's just like, okay, he needs my help. But as she's getting closer to this warehouse, she sees a mysterious body fall out of the fourth floor.
You and
And
Body's turning up with this week.
I guess so. So there were 6 teens who were there that night. One of them is now dead, and the other 5 are now suspects in the murder. And Savannah kind of attempts to find out the truth. And once again, everyone's keeping secrets, and somebody is gonna do whatever it takes to keep the truth from coming to the surface because murder is bad.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I love this one just as much as the other one. I was able to figure out who the killer was before it was revealed, but only by like a couple chapters before. So I was like proud of myself. I was like, I'm gonna figure it out this time because I didn't get it last time.
Love
But
it.
I honestly like I don't understand how she does it, but just like all the clues were there and you just don't see it until it's revealed, and then you're like, oh my god, it's so fucking obvious. Why didn't I see it before? So it's great. I love it. She's magical, and I need her to be writing more so that I can read more. And finally, I read It's Boba Time for Pearl Lee by Nicole Chen.
Yay.
I won't go into it too much since we're going to talk to Nicole, but basically Pearl crochets these cute little dolls, and when she finds out her favorite boba shop, which is Boba Time, where I'm from this week, is having financial issues, she decides she's going to sell her little dolls to help raise money for the shop. And there's like a bunch of different storylines inside the book, and it's all weaved together so well, and it's such a freaking cute story, and I loved it. And
No.
I think once again, it's middle grade, so I think kids, who are the same age as Pearl, I think this is also like a about to start 7th grade kid, and so
Yeah.
like kids that age, I feel like they're gonna learn some valuable lessons reading this book, and it's so good, and I
Oh.
loved it. So yay! And
Yay,
that
Pearly.
yes, Pearly, I love her. Yeah, so that was my week.
Do you have a fictional boyfriend this week?
I do, and it
Or a
is
fictional granny?
Vera Wong. I love her forever.
I saw Vera Wong at Read It Again, and I was like, I want to tell you about this. And I told Josh all about it.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to read it in approximately 8 to 10 business years. It's so good. Oh,
Yeah.
I think it was optioned for like film rights or something. So maybe sooner than 8 to 10.
Cool. Ooh, yeah. All right, fictional boyfriend.
Anyways,
then.
my fictional boyfriend this week is Nevin, who is Ren's brother from The Empress of Time. Mostly because he was like big mad at Ren, like holding a grudge, very upset with her, but he still also have like that touch her and die vibes about him. And I'm like, yes. And he's her younger brother, so it was even better. And I was just like, I love you. So that's my fictional boyfriend this week.
I cannot wait for you to read Crescent City. Okay. Because the main character's brother, Rune Dannon, Crown Prince of the Valbaran Fae, and fucking daddy. Like, you think that the internet is wild about Pedro Pascal. If they knew about Rune Dannon, they would be like, Pedro who? So I can't wait because you're gonna freaking fall in love with him.
Love it.
Yeah.
Tell me about yours.
Mine, you're never gonna believe this. Never in a million years. It's Elliot Bloom based on Adam Driver.
I am so shocked. This is not like you at all.
I was like reading this letter from like, a lot of arcs come with like a letter about why they whatever. And she's like a fanfic writer. She's a Wattpad AO3 girly. And so she's like, obviously I've written a lot of Star Wars. I've written a lot of, Hermione Granger and Draco and whatever. And she was like, so like there's a lot of Adam Driver in this guy. She's like, but I also see a lot of Roy Kent. And if you look at the cover, like the guy's face on the cover, you see Roy Kent. So he was so angry, but he's not even angry. He just like is not a people person. He just wants to be left alone with his plants and his architecture.
He's just grumpy.
He's just kind of grumpy. Yeah, but it was fine. But like when she's hungover, he walks across the street and gets her, yellow Gatorade because he knows it's her favorite, even though they're not speaking, and a power bar, and like slides it across the table. And like something like really bad could happen to her at one point, and he like without her even knowing. Like she sees it, but she's not supposed to. He like intimidates someone to like make that thing go away.
Oh, the Roy Kent vibes. I can't.
I know it's so good. I need to watch. I watched the first episode, but I don't. I don't have Apple TV, and I like. Yeah, I just like. I'm annoyed at the thought of paying for another. Last night, let me tell you this. Last night, we're laying in the bed, and Josh is like, "You need to watch this show," and I can't remember what he said. It's called, and he was like, "It's on MGM Plus," and I just like, I felt like it was in slow mo. I turned to him and I was like, "What did you just say?" And he said, "It's on MGM Plus."
The
said,
fuck
is that? He said it's a new subscription service. I was like, I won't watch it on principle. Another subscription service? Are you kidding? I got rid of cable for this.
Oh my!
So apparently there's a thing called MGM Plus. I will eventually, because like I said, I watched the first episode. I didn't really get much Roy because it's just the first episode.
Yeah. No,
but
Roy Kent.
Maybe I'll buy it for a month and binge it while Josh. He would want to watch Ted Lasso though, so maybe I'll buy it and we can watch it together. So yeah, Elliot Bloom. Loved him.
I love it. Yay. Okay, can you show me where your money? It's my turn. I do this segment.
I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. I forgot. My brain doesn't work today, Karin. I'll show you where my money went. Jeez.
Show me where your money went. I want to see.
Okay, I'm gonna throw an arm out. I'm gonna throw my back out. I got the Romanticy box.
Oh, yes.
I hadn't gotten it before. Our babies over at Forever sent me Always Be My Duchess by the Queen Bee herself, Amelie Howard, and A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. Give me every period piece ever. All the Bridgerton books. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this. My contact got me A Most Agreeable Murder by Julia Seals. So that's an arc that comes out in June. And then The 100 Loves of Juliet by Evelyn Skye.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
August 1st.
I fucking
He just
love
walked in.
Evelyn Skye.
Yeah, he just walked in and he was like, here.
Yay.
Have you gotten Illumicrate?
Yes.
Okay, so we got Some Desperate Glory with these edges, though. Can we discuss these edges?
I can't. It's
insane.
Amazing.
And then the inside is so pretty. The naked covers. I'm here for it. I'm not normally a this is a sci-fi in space,
Isn't
which
sci-fi
normally would not
usually
be
in
something.
space?
Exactly, that's the law, but I'm
Oh.
not normally a sci-fi girly. I'm a fantasy girly.
Yeah.
So I think we talked about this before about when I think sci-fi, it means space.
Yeah.
And I love space, but I don't want to be on an alien ship. I don't know. Unless I want it to be in the TARDIS.
Yes.
Or like real space. Anyways, that's gorgeous. So for the used book sale, I got my brother a 1952 little golden book of Peter Pan for $1. Insane. So he was really excited. And then for myself, I got The Book Thief because I didn't want to leave without a book for myself, but they didn't really have a lot of anything. And I don't have this. And it was an old library version. At Bookstore Date, I got The Sweet Spot by Amy Popple. It's got a dog tail on it right there. That's a dog. I don't really know what it's about even. Oh, okay. So there are, I think it's 3 women who live, like, I think they're roommates or best friends, but they suddenly come in possession of a baby.
Oh yeah, I remember
And
reading
no one
this
knows
description.
whose baby it is. Yeah, and they're trying to find the baby's parents.
Right.
One of them already has 3 kids. It's a whole mess. I got this one based on the cover alone. It's The Bells by Danielle Clayton. Obviously, I got it by the name too, but is that not gorgeous? Look at those flowers.
Amazing.
And the names on the back praising this book: Marie Lou, Zoraida Cordova, Renee Adier, I don't know who that is, and Roshani Choksky.
Oh my god.
Like, they all say it's great.
Heavy hitters.
I nearly passed away in the bookstore when I opened this. My husband, this man said he didn't know that I love dragons, like stories of dragons. And I was like, what? He was like, I just learned this when you read Fourth Wing. I was like, bro, Aragon is like one of my favorite series. I mean, Throne of Glass has a lot of, I mean, it's not technically dragons, it's wyverns, but still it's the same thing. Not the same thing, but a similar thing. I love dragons. I was like, so I just need you to know something else that your wife is not even moderately obsessed with: a cool map. This is a hot pink.
That's amazing.
Beautiful map inside this book.
That's amazing.
Danielle,
amazing.
I got the 3rd book in the Scholomance series, The Golden Enclave. I'm probably going to start reading this series soon because I'm really and one of those where it's like at the top of the TBR and then something happens and you're like, okay, I can't read you yet. Like when you get Forget Me Not. Anyways, I already had this book, but it's autographed. Like they had it autographed. So The Other Queen by Philippa Gregory. I read so many books of hers when I like was first starting out in my job doing data entry. I like listened to the audiobooks again, like Henry VIII era, give me all of it. Stories of All of the Wives. So yeah, I was really excited to get her autograph. So this one is about Mary, Queen of Scots.
Nice.
I got my initiation paperwork into my certificate of membership, into Christina's International Zaddy fan club. Our friend Christina, she made me, I gave her a list like of, favorite celebrity crushes. So she picked, I got Harry, of course, and like it's got cute little characters on it. They look like erasers. I don't really know, but they're not. And Milo. And then she gave me stickers. One says "The thirst is real" with this one. One's a license to be horny. And then this one, she said like the other 2, she just like grabbed. This one she handpicked for me. My moral compass leaving my body when a villain is sexy. And that's Tom from Tom and Jerry dying. So I was very excited to get my membership into the Zaddy fan club. She made all of this stuff. She's so freaking cool.
I
So
love her.
I was excited about that. I do too. Okay, so my arcs from Read It Again. Of course, I told you I got Forget Me Not. There's Roy's face on Adam's body. Like Adam's face though. I got The Duchess Effect by Tracy Livesay.
Ooh.
It's July. Again, she looks like a badass. So, and then Everything I Learned in a Chinese Restaurant by Curtis Chin.
I want to read that book so bad.
It's on NetGalley too. I just saw it today.
Oh, I have to go look.
Yeah. I was like, okay, this cover the cover is so freaking cool. It's rainbow. It's a like a no, I don't want to bet. I cannot word. That was chaos. It's not a takeout pad. It's a order pad, I guess, from like a diner. It's got a coffee stain. It's super cool. Comes out October. I'm almost done, I promise. I won Once Upon a Book Club box. It's the Secret Princess box,
Oh, cool.
which is Margaret Stoll and Melissa
And-
De La Cruz.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that.
That is very
Gotta add it
cool.
to my stack and get to reading. And then I think this is the last thing. I got my Waterstones Fourth Wing. So it doesn't have the edges or anything, but it does. It's like pure gold, where the American version is kind of a gradient. American version says fly or die. UK version or Waterstones version says graduate or die.
Oh.
And then the quotes at the top from authors are different. This one's Tracy Wolf from the US, and the Waterstones is Jennifer L. Armentrout.
Okay.
So add it to the collection.
Welcome to the club.
Welcome home. I ordered a German edition the other day because it's like insanely gorgeous. And my signed edition should be here tomorrow. My signed and personalized. It's a sickness.
Welcome to the collect every version of a book club, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't necessarily need to be welcomed because I'd like to say hello in Fire and Starlight Saga. I did the same for that. I have a lot of editions of that too. Amber posted about Stray recently and how, like, if you've pre-ordered it, there's going to be some goodies. And of course, I frantically flew to my email and I was like, I think I ordered it.
Of course you
I
did.
ordered it.
Of
course I ordered it. But
Who
I
do you think
panicked
you
for a
are?
minute. I don't know. A person without a brain. I'm the scarecrow. Okay. If I was the Tin Man in like second grade in the talent show, wrong. I got heart for miles. I don't have a brain. I should have been the scarecrow.
This is the most accurate thing you've ever said.
It's the truth though. Like, I think I'm a person
it.
without a brain is what I think. Anyway, show me where your money went now that I've rattled on and on with a skyscraper.
Okay, so you showed the Illumicrate book. Did you get Fairy Loot, Adult, TJ Klune?
No, but you can show me because I look at spoilers.
In the Lives of Puppets, it's completely redesigned. The colors are even completely different. Like, the book is green.
I would never have. If you had taken the name off of that, I never would have guessed.
Right? It looks nothing.
Never.
Nothing, but like the edges are
Very
beautiful.
Nice.
There's like, this is the original colorway. It's a completely different cover. Like, it's crazy. I mean, it's cool. It's That's just wild. Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's the end papers. The naked hardback. Ooh. It's beautiful. I got some beautiful books to show you. Gorgeous.
Gimme. Show me.
Okay, this is book 1 of Crescent City. This is the slip.
I can't wait.
This is the slipcase because the book is inside the slipcase.
Yeah.
And the edges.
Beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I posted a TikTok.
Yeah, I saw the TikTok.
End papers. It's so fucking beautiful. I can't even.
I was gonna say, if you show me the back, I'm gonna say
okay.
The guy in the end pages, and one of them is Hunt Athalar.
And then here's book
Me
2.
and our friend Molly, Adis. It's Adis. It's so pretty.
Ooh, that's a sound.
That was a sound that it made.
That was a sound it made.
So pretty.
Who knew books could fart? It's so pretty. I'm very
gorgeous.
excited. They're very pretty.
Runes in that one.
I completely forgot how chunky these things are. But they're
It's a
gorgeous.
weapon.
Yeah, no, that's what I was telling my kid. I was like, listen, this is like a brick. Like this.
Those
Yeah,
books
they're
are brutal.
yeah, you could murder somebody with these books. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't because then they'd get blood on them and they're too pretty for that.
Yeah, and don't damage our books like that,
Yeah.
especially those books. They
So
take them.
pretty.
I'm gonna go ahead and warn you again. It takes 3/4 of the first book to get invested.
Listen,
You have to stick with it.
it took me basically all of the first ACOTAR book to get invested. So like I get it. Like I know.
And 3 years. It took me 3 years to
It
read
took
Akatar because
so
I'd
long.
pick it up and I'm like, it's a girl wandering in the wood. Why do I give a shit?
ACOTAR was hard. ACOTAR was hard.
Yeah.
And then once you get to it, like the
After you
parts,
get, yeah.
yeah, then it's fine. It's just like you have
Yeah.
to get there. So I get it.
Yeah.
I'm prepared for that.
Yeah.
I got my April Patreon from Grimoire Tea. It is the Fellowship of the Tea. It's in this cute little gold packaging. I love it. I can't wait to have some. I went to Linden Tree over the weekend to kind of debrief with Grace about the last 2 weekends and book festivals and all of that. It was so nice to see her. But I did also pick up some books. I went in, so I don't know if Linden Tree posted it or if Stacey Lee posted it, but Stacey Lee went in and signed all of her books. So I picked up Luck of the Titanic and Outrun the Moon. I've read Luck of the Titanic. I really loved it. It gave me a new book idea, so it has a very special place in my heart. And let me show you. She signed and stamped it. So there's like cute little stamps. I'm obsessed. I love it. It's so cool. And then
so cute.
As we were talking about this, Grace recommended this one, and I was like, "Yes, I'm in." It's talks about the 1906 earthquake in San Francisco.
Ooh.
So yeah, I'm very excited to read it. I love the way that Stacey writes. So yay! Why am I putting it over there? And then, of course, I can't go to Linden Tree without stopping by the ARC shelf. So.
Oh Lord.
I got a few.
She didn't get enough at Y'all Fest.
No, never. There's never enough.
Never.
So I didn't pick this one up, but I'm glad that Grace grabbed it and she's like, look at this. And I was like, yes. It is Top Story, which is the newest book in the Kelly Yang's Front Desk series. I'm very excited. I haven't read the series yet, but I'm so excited to read it. And now that I have this, I know that I will read it because so there's that. This is already out, but I saw the arc on the shelf and I wanted it, so I grabbed it. It is Princess Private Eye by Evelyn Skye. It is her middle grade, I think it's her middle grade debut, and basically she wrote a new Disney princess. Like that's what this is. So I'm very excited, and she just did the cover reveal for book 2 as well. So I'm very excited to read that. And then I picked up this book. I saw the arc like listed as an option at LA Times and at Y'all West, and I missed it both times, and I was very upset. So I'm very glad that I have it now. It's This Town is on Fire by Pamela and Harris. Just look at this cover.
Yeah.
Look at it. I don't even remember what the story is. But the cover is to die for. Yeah. So I'm very excited for that. This one, Grace handed it to me. She's like, none of us had read this. If you read this, please read this. It would help us a lot. And I'm like, absolutely, I will. It's called Love and Resistance by Kara H.L. Chen. It is her debut. I'm very excited. Olivia Chang is at her 4th school in 7 years. And she's not a people person, so she just doesn't like hang out with people. But then somebody makes like a very pointed racist remark, and she's like tired of being invisible, so she defends herself, and all of a sudden she's not got her life of solitude anymore because she stood up for herself. And she soon Olivia joins forces with the Nerd Net, a secret society that's been thwarting Mitzi's reign of terror for months. Together they plan to unite the masses and create true change at school. So I'm very excited. It sounds great.
Yeah.
This one I'm very excited for. It's called Give Me a Sign by Anna Sortino. It's got death representation in it. I'm so here for it. Like the moment I saw this, I was like, I need this. I need to read it. I'm so excited. Can't wait. And the latest from JL, House of Marion. I'm very excited for this. I read both of her.
That is beautiful.
Her books. It's gorgeous. I read her books during Simon Teen's Christmas list, and I love them. So I'm very excited for this. And last thing I got, they saved this for me because I couldn't be there for Indie Bookstore Day, I got the Indie Bookstore tote.
Oh,
Of course I did.
yay.
Of course I did. I needed it. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I had messaged them on Instagram. I was like, I won't be there. Is there any way you can save me a tote? And Grace was like, I got you. I was like,
Yeah, it's fine. I got you.
so,
Don't even worry about it.
yes. I know, she's the best. So, yes. And then, this is not super fan to me, but I'm really excited about it. I got this at Target, and it's part of the Target Pride collection. And it's got freaking rainbow hearts along the waist. They're little like short overalls and I'm obsessed with them. I love them so much and I don't even like overalls that much, but I'm obsessed with them and I will wear them all.
I think it was last summer, I got a pair of short overalls and I was like, listen, okay, I could do this.
That I can do.
I'm not an overalls person either, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're cute.
Yeah. And comfy. And I just,
Yeah.
So that's where my money went this week.
It was a good haul. We have both had a good week.
It was a good week. And that sound means we have an intruder alert.
Intruder alert!
This week we have the pleasure of speaking with Nicole Chen. Her latest book, which is also her middle grade debut, is It's Boba Time for Pearl Lee. Super cute, y'all. Yay. And her first book ever was this adorable picture book, How We Say I Love You. Also super cute. Y'all need to go get these books. I promise you, you won't regret it. Welcome, Nicole. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
So normally when we start these chats, we ask the author kind of give us the elevator pitch of your book, tell us what it's about, anything you just want people to know if they've never heard of it.
Ooh, all right. So I can start with How We Say I Love You. So that is a picture book about little Hana. She's Taiwanese American, and she goes about her day reflecting on all the ways that her family expresses their love for each other, but without having to say those three little words. So it's really a celebration of like acts of service as a love language. So that's book number
I
one.
love that.
Yeah. And then the second book, which is in middle grade. So this is a story. It's called It's Boba Time for Pearl Lee. And this is about Pearl Lee, who's a 12-year-old girl living in the Silicon Valley. And she loves to craft. She loves to make these really adorable little amigurumi dolls that look kind of like this, little crochets. But she lives in her family's very techie. And so this is a story about how she really wants to actually save a local boba tea shop. So it's the place where she feels the most like herself, where the craft is really appreciated. And then she goes on this entrepreneurial journey to save the boba tea shop through her craft and really learn how to connect with her family. And they eventually learn to see each other as their whole selves.
I love that.
I love them so much. I just read Boba Time this week and it was so freaking cute. And I feel like it's such a good, like, it gives kids life lessons. I feel like you learn about entrepreneurial stuff, you learn about like how to communicate with people and all of this. And so I'm kind of wondering, like, where did the idea for this come from? Like, I know you have a tech background yourself, so obviously that's part of it, but like, where did the crocheting bit come from?
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different layers. So I actually also grew up loving to craft. Like I love to like make stuff. I do work in the tech world, but I started off kind of as a designer. And I think in my career, I went from really leaning into creativity and making fun stuff, and then slowly starting to discover the importance of, actual business, right? Like, oh, you can't just like, it's not just like you build it and it'll come, right? There's actually smart things that you need to do to get your idea and your product out there in the world. And then of course, technology is something that can really amplify that, right? And so I think when I decided I wanted to write a middle grade novel, I was just thinking about the things that matter in my life. And I sometimes think about the stories that I write for middle graders as kind of redos of my own childhood. And so it's a little bit like what would I have wanted to do when I was a kid? And I have always wanted to run a craft store, like an Etsy shop, right? And so I just think that when I started thinking about ideas and things that I really cared about, these were the things that just very organically popped up. This idea of making stuff and then trying to figure out how to make the things that you're making kind of matter to other people. And so, yeah, I think that was part of it. And then when I think about the kind of family element, again, I draw a lot from my own experience. My brother, my sister, and my dad loved to play magic cards when they were kids. Or they were kids, not my dad, but when when we're all younger. Well, my dad's kind of a kid at heart. Like he's always been a kid at heart. So they used to have these long conversations about magic cards. I remember how like left out I would feel. And so I, again, thinking about kind of middle age life, I just thought about the emotions that kind of pulled at me, and those all just kind of got folded into the story.
Oh, I love
That is so
that.
cool.
It's like the book of your heart.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to know how it felt for you and like how the experience was different going from like writing a picture book to writing a middle grade, because I'm sure it was a lot more in depth with the middle grade. But what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a jump. I did not expect to do middle grade or even write novels. I always started off just like loving picture books. And basically what happened was, I think the picture books are so set on a concept, right? You have a very clean, crisp idea. And that's what, all the 500 words are about. And so when I was showing my agent some new ideas, she was like, "Hey, Nicole, these are amazing ideas, but it does sound like you're trying to put a lot into a picture book. You might want to think about expanding into older kids and other formats where you have more space to explore some of these topics and themes around identity, right?" And so I thought, okay, that's interesting. And so I just picked up like chapter books. I picked up middle grade. I picked up YA and just started reading. And yeah, I think that in reading, I discovered that I really loved the middle grade voice, right? Like there's something so hopeful and happy about middle grade. Like you can go to interesting places and you can explore really interesting nuances, but it kind of ends up in a very hopeful and optimistic place. And I kind of feel like that's my like natural age, right? Like that's kind of
Okay.
where it's like the stuff I watch on Netflix, right? It kind of needs a happy
Yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I started reading stories, and actually, truthfully, when I also picked up some books that were written by other Asian American authors, I was like, wow, not only is this an amazing voice that I feel that really resonates with me, but there's actual like Asian American characters out there already. I could do that also. So I think that kind of that experience made me realize, oh, maybe I'll try it and just see how it goes. And then of course my
Yeah.
agent gave me a lot of courage to try it. But yeah, it definitely was a bit of a learning process. I'm someone who likes to study before I actually do the thing. So I did take a bunch of classes. I did a lot of planning and outlining and plotting before I actually sat down to write the thing. And so that was quite an experience as well.
I love that. Yeah. No, you did the thing and it turned out well. It turned out well. Speaking of like identity, there's kind of a lot of that in Boba Time. Like Pearl's trying to figure out who she is in terms of like she is a creative, whereas like you said, her family's techie, but also with her friends. How was it navigating that? Because I know it's like sometimes it can be hard knowing who, like as adults, we're supposed to know who we are, but at the same time, it's like I feel like we're still those kids.
Yeah, I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, the friends, interesting. Those are the relationships that were, I think, a little bit harder for me to write. Like the Kendall character, for example, and then, the tense moments with Priya, kind of finding the right balance of kind of realism, but also being empathic, but also showing each character as very well rounded. Like I knew for sure I didn't want like a bad person, right? Like everyone has their
Right.
different sides. So those relationships did take some time for me to get just right. But I did want each character to be very multifaceted. Most of the other characters are also, people of characters of color. And I also wanted to show that, right? Like, we've got Kendall, has kind of a Taiwanese grandparent, or Priya, who's Indian American, or Cindy, who's also Asian from Hong Kong. So I kind of knew what kind of identities I wanted represented. And then it was a matter of kind of putting them in scenes together and then seeing how they reacted to each other and how they acted toward each other. So yeah, I really had to put myself back into that spot again of being a kid and thinking through, yeah, those relationships, because they're hard, right? Like, I think the pre-relationship, they started being kids when they were really little. And then as you grow older, you find edges, right? You're each trying to develop and figure out who yourself is. And sometimes it fits really naturally and sometimes it doesn't. And what's the most important thing is that you communicate to each other, right? And so, yeah, I just had to kind of channel that. But yeah, it wasn't easy to get those especially those tension moments, right? Like you kind of want them to be a combination of real and heartbreaking, but at the same time very hopeful, right? Like at the end of the day,
Right.
we get angry at each each other as friends. It's okay to fight. It's just kind of how you build yourself up afterwards and how you support each other afterwards and how you grow from those moments.
That's a hard age anyways, because you are sometimes in such a rush to grow up, but at the same time you still, like you said, have that hope and that playful side, and you want to like go home and sit down and play with your Barbies, but you're 13 and that's too cool, you know, or you get some cute little toy and like sleep with it in the bed, but are my friends doing that? Is that not cool anymore? So it's a hard age to get right.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad you did.
Yeah. I also personally, I really loved, like, this is clearly set in Silicon Valley. Like you knew what it was talking about, even though we've got, you know, fictionalized places, but it was like the, not only just like the setting itself, but the cast of characters. Like it's very representative of not just Silicon Valley, but like our world as a whole now, like all of these different people playing off of each other. So I really loved being able to see that. Especially, I think Kendall might have been like one of my favorites because, you know, she's mixed race, and I feel like we don't get enough of that. And I think you portrayed her struggles really well, especially when she's interacting with her grandmother. You know, she can't communicate with her, and I don't know, it's something about it just resonated, and I feel like it's going to be really great for other, you know, mixed race people, kids who finally get to see themselves. Were you conscious of that, like when you were choosing these identities, like of the representation that you were going to be throwing out there, or did it just feel kind of natural to have them, like it wasn't a question?
Yeah, I was pretty conscious. I mean, my daughter's mixed race, and growing up here in the Bay Area, and you know, now as a parent in the Bay Area, there's a lot of, you know, mixed race kids here, right? And so, you know, I do think a lot about what culture and her identity, that like what she is going to relate to as she gets older. You know, my daughter's actually, I think, quite white passing, so
Mine's the same, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like I have this extra responsibility to really like stuff as much Asianness into her as I can. And, you know, ultimately it will be her choice, right? Like how she wants to self-identify, what communities she wants to navigate in. But yeah, you know, I think it was pretty intentional on my end to bring in Kendall as a mixed race character. And yeah, like think about what culture means to her, right? You know, with her Taiwanese grandmother and not being able to speak to her, like what are those ways that they can communicate? What are those things that do bind them? And, you know, in this particular story, craft was one of those things, right? The act of making. There's, you know, other books out there in the world in kid lit that kind of communicate that too. Like Drawn Together is a great picture book that illustrates that as well. But yeah, I was quite intentional about all the characters. I had a lot of fun writing the scenes of like the locality of the story, right? Because I'm from the Silicon Valley. I grew up here. I live here now. And so I did have a lot of fun putting those little Easter eggs and thinking about the plazas and what they look like. And, you know, I definitely, it's like you write what you know, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was a lot of fun to just pull from those memories and just put them on paper. So yeah, that was really delightful. In fact, the tea shop that Boba Time is modeled after is, I can tell you exactly which one it is. It's Cupertino Village in Sunnyvale. And there's a little tea shop called Tianren. It's actually a franchise. But, you know, that was a particular franchise that I used to go to as a college kid. And yeah, there was a woman there who was, you know, at the time we called her the crazy boba lady. And she was exactly Auntie Cha. She had that with crazy hair, the wild hair, you know, very, very active. She'd run around the shop, take shots of tea just to make sure it's just perfect. And so I remember even now, you know, 20 years later, her energy and her passion for what she was doing really stuck with me. And so when I was thinking about kind of what is this business that I want Pearl to be saving, I did want something very Taiwanese. And so very naturally, Boba was an easy one. And then, yeah, I modeled her after the store and the character after, you know, this lady at this lady at Tianren from like 20 years ago. And at a book reading, actually, someone did come up to me and say, I think I know that lady. Like her family ran another Tianren franchise, and like they all kind of knew each other. And I was like, oh my gosh, please try to get this book into her hands. I need to like track her down.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Say you need to take her a copy.
Isn't that amazing? So yeah, she's like, yeah, I need to track her down at some point, but it was pretty amazing to hear that.
So cool. Like I would be so honored. Like somebody wrote a character about me. I made that much of an impact. Like that's so cool.
But I
I hope
actually
you.
mention her in the acknowledgments, so it's like it's there on paper. So yes, I need to figure that
Oh,
piece out.
I hope you get to like bring her a copy and just be like, here.
Yeah.
Yes,
This is
it would be
about
pretty
you.
amazing. Yeah.
I will like I need you to also film it because I will cry like
Yeah.
a
Oh,
baby.
same.
An
100%.
actual baby.
Yeah. It will happen
That
one
is
day.
so
It will happen.
cool.
It's closer than, yeah,
We're all
this
about
moment.
manifesting on this podcast. So we're gonna put that out into the
Yes,
universe.
you're gonna
Yes.
find her. You're gonna find her. You're gonna give her a copy of your book.
It's
She's
gonna
gonna
be amazing.
get a shot of tea with you to make sure it's good. And then you guys are gonna have
Exactly.
boba together and it's gonna be
Exactly.
perfect.
It's going to be
Yay.
amazing.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, now I'm so excited to see
So
it happen.
To be continued.
what is
Yeah.
your boba order?
Yes, that's an interesting one. So if it's before 2 p.m. because of the caffeine, I do go
Uh-huh.
old school caramel tea. So yeah, and I like to throw things in like tofu, like almond jello, or tofu pudding. I do like to throw those things in, but that's if it's before 2 p.m. because the caffeine really does get to me. Otherwise, my other favorite, and I often take my daughter, and we kind of go to a particular tea place where it's more fruit based than it is tea based, and I get the pina colada smoothie with boba.
Hey.
That
Ooh.
one's very tasty. Yeah.
You're gonna
Yeah.
have to tell me where that is because I need that in my life.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
It's very tasty.
Very delicious.
Oh, I love it. So, it's a weird question to ask a middle grade author, but I'm going to ask it anyway because we ask all of our authors this.
Yeah.
We have a segment on the podcast we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week, which is kind of based off of like the book boyfriend idea. It doesn't have to be like a boyfriend and it doesn't have to be a book. It could be like film or TV. But just, is there any like fictional character that you are crushing on, you just love so much, you think everybody should experience them, whether or not
Karen
it's
had a
reading or watching?
fictional granny a few weeks
I
ago.
did.
Like,
I had a
so
fictional granny. Is just like, is there a character that you just love so much and you want everybody to know about them?
You mean in my book in specifically?
No,
no, in
anything,
like
any media.
anything. Yeah. And this is where anything that you've ever consumed goes away. And you're like, I
Right.
don't know if I've ever read a book or watched a movie in
Yeah,
my life.
exactly. I'm like, everything has disappeared from my head right
Left the
now.
building.
Yep. That's exactly what always happens.
Yeah.
I mean, when you said fictional boyfriend, I mean, the first name that came to mind, I mean, I guess he's not fictional though, was like Keanu Reeves was like
Hey, that's
Oh
okay.
yeah, that's
such
okay.
like, I mean, I think I mentioned in the book. I don't remember if I mentioned in the book. There was a previous draft where he was in the book. And then we might have edited him out at some point. But I remember, I mean, his character in Speed was just like dreamy, right? Like so strong but thoughtful, right? Like very sensitive and thoughtful and like very caring to like, the people he was trying to save. And so I don't know, that's like the first
No, we
silly
count that. We count
idea
Yeah,
that.
that
that
counts.
pops.
Yeah,
That counts.
that counts. Yeah. Celebrity crushes also count in this
Yeah.
segment.
I think a few weeks ago we both had a celebrity crush
Yes, exactly. So
as
it
our
totally counts.
All right, and who are your celebrity crushes?
Oh,
Do you,
um
hers
do you
is
remember?
Sebastian Stan. That
yeah, hers
week,
is Sebastian. Mine was Adam Driver that week, but it's always Tom Hiddleston and then Adam Lazara, who's the singer for Taking Back Sunday. Like they're my and Harry Styles lately
Aw.
because I'm a human being and with eyes. So.
All excellent choices. I fully support each and every
yeah.
one.
I don't know who yours was that week, Karen. I
I
can't
don't remember that
It
week.
wasn't Sebastian Stan.
It wasn't Sebastian Stan that week, but Sebastian Stan always. Elizabeth Olsen, Jeremy Renner, Florence
It was
Pugh.
Jeremy Renner because of renovations.
Was it? Okay, maybe that's
I
what it
think
was.
so, yeah.
But yeah, basically, I am a big Marvel fangirl, so it's clear in all my celebrity crushes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Another question that we always ask is, what are you reading lately or watching? Like, what do you want to recommend for us? Because we're always looking for things to read or watch.
I just read a great YA called Throwback by Marine Gu.
Where is my
Do you have
copy?
it?
I have it somewhere.
She has it somewhere.
I have it. I've been following like
She's
I
been
bought the
not stalking, but stalking.
not stalking, but stalking. Yeah. I went the past couple weekends. I went to the LA Times Festival of Books and I went to Y'all West and I was gonna go to the Bay Area Book Festival, but I ended up not. And I was just like, I just need to meet Maureen so that she can. And so I have the book. I have
Oh,
not read it, but it sounds so good.
so good. It's wonderful. I mean, the premise is fantastic, right? So it's
Mhm.
like a girl, like, she's a little bit older. She's in high school and she's, the typical kind of mom
Mom
daughter
friend.
tension.
Oh,
But they
Lord.
actually have a lot of tension. And somehow the main character finds herself like back in the 1990s and basically like needs to befriend her mom as a teenager in order to find her way back to the present. And so it's very Back to the Future. It's a lot of fun because there's all these 90s references and I grew up in the 90s. And so like a
I
lot of these
need this.
resonate with me.
Yeah.
So it's super fun. She talks about things like, pagers and, things like the music and the clothes and all that kind of stuff. So it's super fun to go back. But it's also this like really beautiful story about kind of understanding somebody that grew up in a different time with different pressures. The race relations is very different then. Identity was very
Yeah.
different then. And then using that to understand why she is the way she is presently. Right. And so I think it's just a beautiful story of like a mother-daughter relationship and trying to find each other and trying to understand each other. And then also like a really interesting nod also to a certain extent, like how far we've come since the 90s. There's a lot more work to do as well, of course. But there were things in the 90s that, yeah, a lot of these like microaggressions that would not be okay now, right? And so even kind of developing some empathy for what it was like back then and how that shaped people like her mother. It was a wonderful story. I was really excited about it. And I hadn't read Maureen Gu's work previously, so I went into it kind of with no expectations, and I found it just really, really fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and
so
really
exciting.
lovely.
That's so exciting because it's also going to be like my first Maureen Goo book as well.
Yeah.
And like the concept sounds amazing,
Yeah.
It
especially
makes me.
with the
Oh,
90s.
I was gonna say it makes me feel ancient that the 90s are a throwback when I was a child then. I wasn't a teenager, but oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have another novel that's coming out next year, and it's based in the 90s, and it's going to be categorized as historical fiction.
No, I remember you saying that in at
Yeah,
Oh
the I
at
was
the
no.
like, "Oh
event.
no." At the event
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh no.
yeah,
Oh
it's
no.
painful.
Ugh.
I don't like that. I don't like that at
Another
all."
another author that we had on the podcast recently who's kind of become a friend of ours is Sarah Ainsley, and she
Mhm.
got in her car the other day and the classic rock station was playing No Doubt Don't Speak, and
Oh,
she
that's
was like,
classic
I want to drive
rock.
my car off a cliff. Like
That's
the
awful.
oldies station, the classic rock.
I'm
Why?
I'm so unwell. I can't believe it. Ugh, I don't like it.
Oh,
Yeah. I
historical fiction.
feel like
That
whenever I start a
hurts.
story in middle grade, I always have to like do the math of like, okay, if this is going to come out at this time and the kid's like 12, so you subtract, and so the parents need to be at this age, and then you make your way back and you're just like, wow,
Oh God, we
time
got
Oh
old.
flies.
no. When did that happen?
Yeah, yeah, the
Be right
math
back.
is
I gotta
also
go put on an
scary.
eye serum.
Yeah.
I gotta go do some skincare really quick.
I was like,
Schedule a
if there's a book that comes out in 2012 and the kid is 12, then that means she was born in 2013. That's not that
oh
far from now.
Oh,
That was like
no.
yesterday,
I don't like
And
this.
yeah,
I don't
it's
like
pretty
this.
bonkers.
oh my
Oh,
gosh.
Just
I
don't
don't
do
I
the
need
like
to go
math.
I don't
I need to go schedule an appointment with a chiropractor to get my
Yeah.
yeah.
back
Where's my
right.
Advil?
God, I need to put a knee brace on. Hold on. Oh
So,
God.
speaking of your next novel, can you tell us anything about it? Any secrets?
I mean, secrets. So, I mean, I think it's going to be announced pretty soon. And yeah, I mean, it's about a girl in the 1990s, and she loves grunge music. Grew up with grunge, and she wants to learn how to be kind of a rocker, and she wants to learn how to be bold and loud and really confident. But it's hard. Her parents are first generation immigrants coming from Taiwan, which at the time was just becoming a democracy. Like literally, it was, and I didn't know this this growing up as a child. In fact, I don't think it officially became a democracy until 93 or 95, something like that. And so my parents grew, and Lily, I guess in the story is called, the character's Lily, and her parents, grew up in a time where there were no opposing political parties in Taiwan. Like, they were not allowed to speak up. And so this book kind of explores both the hesitation that the parents have for her to be bold and big and challenging, as well as, I guess, her own journey to find her voice and figure out who she wants to be. So I guess that's kind of like the broad strokes of what this particular story is going to be about.
That's really exciting.
That sounds really exciting.
Hear about.
I also love that you chose like music as her choice of outlet, because I had an ex-boyfriend who once told me with full seriousness that like Asian people were too quiet to sing, and I was like, "Excuse me, sir, have you heard of Lea Salonga?"
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is
next.
yeah, again, like, as soon as I feel like I write the books that I wish, I write the stories I wish I lived as a kid. Because yeah, I was a quiet kid as well, right? And like, back then I did love the grunge music and the alternative rock and all of that. But yeah, when I conceived of this particular story, it was actually right around when the spa shootings happened in Atlanta. And I remember just feeling that sense of, we don't have a voice, right? Of like, people don't think we speak up, we don't speak out. And so this next story, it has more of that kind of empowerment, social justice, like stand up. I think Boba Time, obviously very fun, love it. But it's very like cute and happy. There's definitely moments of identity, but it's a very joyful story. And, I think this next one is joyful as well, but it does more explicitly go there. And so, yeah, when I thought back, I was like, yeah, I did love all that music, and it never occurred to me that I could pick up an electric guitar and play, and like get up in front of a mic and scream and be loud and do all those things that my idols back then were doing. And so again, I'm like, going back, if I could throw back and go back in time, knowing all the things I know now, what could I have done as a 12-year-old? And so yeah, I very intentionally chose rock music, and then grunge, that was more me. Like, it could have been punk rock, it could have been something else.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to talk about grunge, and I chose Pearl Jam. I love Pearl Jam more than I love Nirvana. Sorry.
No, I think I'm with you on that. Yeah.
So that's me getting injected into the story again. But yeah, I was quite intentional about wanting to use music, and to use one that's kind of a style of music that's quite bold, right, and out there.
Yeah, I love that.
It's funny that you talk about like wanting to go back with what you know now, because we've had this come up a few times now. We had Victoria Fulton. Wait, am I gonna say their names wrong?
Yeah. Victoria Fulton and Faith McLaren.
Okay, I thought so, but then I got Ellie is cool now, about a girl who goes back to her high school reunion. And so we were talking about like our high school experiences, and I didn't hate high school. I enjoyed seeing my friends, but I said I wish I could do it over with the confidence that I have now.
Yeah.
But then you lose some of that innocence, and that, like you were talking about earlier, the excitement and the joy and the hope, because you're confident that a lot of this doesn't matter as much as you think it does. Nobody's looking at your shoes.
Yeah.
Nobody cares what kind of shoes you have on, and you are like freaking out about it. But that is a cool trend that we're seeing, that we're getting stories now of what we wish we could have done, and what we the things we wish we could have said or would have said in those situations. So that's really cool to hear. I'm excited about that.
And I love the idea of writing as like, this is how I wish my life could have been. Mm-hmm. Like, not as like a regret kind of way, but in like a lifting yourself and lifting up, yourself back then and the kids now. And I love that.
And
that
living
idea
vicariously through your character.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, don't regret. We had to have those experiences, right? Like, I mean, if I didn't have those experiences, I wouldn't have the inspiration and the things that I need, the juices that I need to then like write the story, right? Like, I remember how painful that was. But at the same time, like, to your point, Karin, it is about giving the kids today that hope and that knowledge, in a thoughtful way, right? In a way that's not condescending in any particular way, but it is to hopefully give them a little boost to say, look, this is what you could do now. Like, one of the most touching things that I feel like I've experienced with the release of Boba Time is, girls that come up to me and say, oh my gosh, my friends say that I look like the girl on the cover, right? Like, this is the girl on the cover. She's like, oh, this looks like me. My friends say this looks like me. And my mom says it all the time. Mom's like, this looks just like you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't get that as a kid, right? I didn't even know I wanted it until,
Right.
like,
Yes.
funnily enough, it was just like you just don't even assume that you can like be on the
Yeah.
cover. You know what I mean? And so it's those little moments that are like, yes, you know, we're doing something for the kids of today, so they don't
And
feel the
healing our
pain that
inner
we did.
children.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't know I needed this kind of representation until, and I very distinctly remember this. We went to see like Crazy Rich Asians, and like that first scene, like I was like bawling because it was the first time I had seen, right? Like an Asian person speak in perfect English, like just like
And
dominate, you know? And it
mic
was
drop
amazing.
by the
Yeah.
best possible way to open it. It was, yeah, I felt the exact same way. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's just, you're right, like we didn't realize that we were missing something because our world is so like there's such a default to
Yep.
whiteness, and so we just kind of go along with it. And I'm loving like all of the Asian authors that are coming out now, and with all of this representation, and you're right, like people get to see themselves, and there's nothing better. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty amazing time right now. I love it.
It is. And you get to be a part of it.
Yeah. It is. It's pretty amazing. It's a lot of fun. It's very invigorating. So I'm really enjoying, you know, writing these stories and being part of the community and reading the stories that keep coming out and like supporting other writers. Yeah, it's been a fantastic journey so far.
Do
A
you
lot
know
of
what it's going
fun.
to be so cool is when a little girl has read this book and grows up and writes, you know, and just like you with the lady at the tea shop comes back to find you and tell you this is because of you or you contributed to this, you
Yeah.
know, in some way. That's going to be so cool. And I
Yeah.
know it'll happen. Like I know it'll happen.
That would be
So
amazing.
cool.
Yeah. One day. One day. One day I'll be historical fiction.
The
Oh, no.
90s.
The
The
90s.
1990s. Oh God.
It hurts me to think about it every time. All right, so this is the portion of the interview where I will pretend to apologize. Mandy will make no pretense
I
about it.
make no apologies at all.
But I regret to inform you now that you have been on the podcast, you are legally required to come back for every book you release.
Yay! I'm
It's-
happy to do so.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the next project. It sounds like it's going to be amazing, and it sounds like it's going to be the biggest, like, just middle finger to that ex-boyfriend of mine. Be like, listen,
Frick you,
listen,
guy.
buddy.
Yep, we can rock on. We can rock
Yeah.
on.
So everybody, please go pick up. Let me pull them up again.
Both
because I
of
love
them.
How We Say I Love You, which we didn't talk about very much, but this book is so freaking cute. And when I met you, when you had this book launch, I think I almost cried talking about how much like it meant to me. Because it is such a representation of my own family. Like, we don't really say I love you. I'm changing that with my daughter, but like my parents, you know. So How We Say I Love You, it is excellent. You'll learn some Chinese words too,
I
guys.
need to get it for my baby niece.
Yes. Oh, she would love it. And also, it's boba time for Pearl Lee. Very cute. Great for kids. They're going to learn a lot of things from this. A lot of life lessons, I think. Thank you so much, Nicole, for coming and chatting with us. It was such a
Thanks
so
so
much
much for
fun.
having me. Yeah, it was so much fun. I really look forward to the next time we chat.
Yes, I can't
Me
wait. And I'm so
too.
excited. Congratulations on everything. It's like 2 book releases in just a few months. Like,
It's been a busy
craziness.
2023, but hey, I'll take it.
Whirlwind.
Oh, love it. It's been a lot of fun.
Yay. Well, thank you so much again for coming. It was great talking
Thank
to you.
you.
We'll talk
Thank
soon.
you. All right, sounds good. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Thank you for being here. Bye.
Bye.
She's so freaking pretty.
I know, right?
My
Like,
God, her smile.
she's freaking beautiful. She's so sweet, and just, I love what she's doing. I love everything that she's doing. She's just awesome. And seriously, everybody, I know it's middle grade, I know it's picture books, but like, I really enjoyed it as a 30 something. So
Yeah.
just go do it.
Yeah,
Just go
I need
do
to
it.
read it.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's exciting. Are you anticipating anything?
By the time this episode comes out, it will have already happened, but I'm looking forward to the Celebrating Asian Voices panel that's happening
I'm so excited.
on Wednesday. I'm panicking, but I'm
Don't
excited.
panic. Everything's going to be great.
Yeah, I started like writing down notes and things and like planning how it's gonna go. at least in my head. So we'll see. Hopefully it'll be good. I'm excited.
It's going to be perfect. You're going to be wonderful.
Thanks.
I'm going to be watching. So remind everybody.
Yes.
Date and time.
Well, this episode's coming out afterwards.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
We did that last week then.
We did it
I
last
wonder
week.
if it'll be recorded and we can watch.
It'll be
Like, they can watch.
recorded. It'll be recorded, but I think you have to register in order to get the video.
Okay.
So we'll post another link to social media over the weekend, and hopefully more people will see it and sign up. And if they can't make it live, then they can watch the replay.
Hopefully you guys listened to us last week when we told you to go register.
What are you looking forward to? Anticipating? Whatever.
So we're doing like a Mother's Day brunch with my mom and my grandmothers and my great aunt on Saturday. So I I talked about like I got everybody like a special vase and I got my mom a book vase. So I'm excited to like put flower arrangements together for everybody and like bring them their stuff. I did one of the little cake things I got from my neighbor today is like a little trio of cakes. So the little girls, like the twins are going and my baby niece is going. They're each just going to get a cake and a flower just because I don't want to like not give them anything, even though it's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that.
You're so extra.
We're going to see, I know I am. I can't help it. Are you surprised though?
No.
When you came here, there was a whole like welcome basket on your bed.
There really was. There literally was, y'all. Like it was a whole welcome basket.
Southern.
And it was
Southern,
amazing.
Okay, that's a thing.
It was very cool.
We're going to see Stassi Schroeder on the 21st. My husband has a couple of concerts this month. I don't. So I think my big exciting stuff is in July when we're seeing Take Back Sunday. Which is like one of my oldest celebrity crushes is Adam Ladera. Always fictional boyfriend of the week forever. Even if I don't say it. And we're gonna see Andrew McMahon. The reason we're going to his show is because the Starting Line is playing and I've loved them since I was like 13 too. And I've never gotten to see them live. So I was like, bye. I don't care. Like I don't care how much this is. Buy it. I think that's it. I don't really have anything like major that I can think of. And there's probably something huge that I'm forgetting. I don't have a brain. What?
I'm pointing at myself.
I'm excited for your panel.
I was like,
I'm gonna be logging into your panel, but we already talked about that. But yeah, I think I had to have been one of the first people to register. As soon as the link went up, I was like, sold.
Did I send it? I think I might have just sent it to you directly.
Either that or you posted it and I got an alert and I was like, done.
I got the link before it went out wide. Like Dana sent it to me and I was like, can I post this?
Yeah, then you yeah.
Yeah, so I posted it before
from you somehow.
Forever and everybody else posted. I was a hipster. I was there first.
How did the hipster burn their tongue? They drank their coffee before it was cool. No, I'm very excited about that.
It's gonna be great.
I'm proud of you. It's gonna be great. Oh, I am kind of excited. I was hoping I'd be able to go tomorrow, but I'm not going to be able to because I've got a bunch of last minute stuff to do before the brunch Saturday morning. But Tallulah, she just knocked something over and just kept walking. I don't know what she knocked over.
I heard it.
Okay, so the twins' older sister is like our age and she lives here and their dad heard that I had a podcast and he was asking me what it was about and I was like, oh, we just talk about books and fandom stuff. And he was telling me that Abby, his daughter, has a book club. And so like I saw her the other day and I was talking to her and I was like, tell me about this book club. So she's added me to it. They're in the middle of a book now, so I'm gonna wait until the next book. But they do like I think Sunday night Zoom calls. But they're doing a meetup tomorrow night, which I was hoping to be able to go to, but I'm gonna have to skip this one and go to the next one. But I'm excited about that. I'm in a little book club. Yeah. She said that I think it's the Paris Library they're reading right now.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I can't remember.
But she said she texted me yesterday and she was like, we also have like a classics like subgroup if you want to like reread the classics. I was like, listen, I love the classics. I also have a podcast that I have to read for and I read like personal. I was like, so I don't know if I can commit to 2 books. I was like, but I'll look at the list and like I'll maybe cherry pick which one I read,
yeah,
and alternate or something. But yeah, I'm excited about that.
That's cool. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Is it time for a spiel?
I think we're ready for a spiel. I was going to say, I think I said all the things I'm anticipating.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are listening to us. Please also follow us on social media. We're at The Incoherent Fangirl on Instagram and TikTok, at Incoherent Girls on Twitter, even though Twitter is the worst.
Insert fart noises here. Twitter.
I really need to find some fart noises so I can insert it.
That was one for you.
Also, like our Facebook page and then head over to our website, incoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream all of our episodes as well as read our blog, which has very many,
so many. I'm so proud of us.
so many book reviews. I love it so much. And if you would like to see our pretty faces, or Nicole, who is freaking stunning.
Gorgeous.
So pretty, so sweet, beautiful smile. I adore her. You should subscribe to our Patreon.
You'd also see this show dog that's been in my lap most of this time.
Oh, that's a different
Harry
show dog.
Potter tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I squeezed too tight. He's been a mama's boy lately. But if you're a patron, you can see his cute little face.
Aww.
He's the baby of the bunch.
So cute. So you really do want to subscribe to Patreon and get
we have
these
puppies.
videos. There are puppies. We'll put more puppies in the videos if that's what it takes.
Hold on. Patreon exclusive. Look at him laying on his back.
Oh my goodness.
He's sprawled out on his back.
Of course he is. He's living the good life. Living the
exclusive
good life.
Behind the scenes for the patrons.
So if you want to see the exclusive behind the scenes, you're going to head over to theincoherentfangirl.com/Patreon and sign up. It's just a couple bucks. Just a few.
Not many.
Not much. Just a few $bucks, as they would say in Bluey. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, you just want to tell us how pretty we are, we're okay with that too.
Take it.
Send us an email at theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from y'all. And
give us your words.
Give us all the words, especially in a review. You can rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. I know that we do a lot of reviews, so it would just be nice if you did one as well. I'm just saying, if you feel like it. I don't overdo that.
Yeah.
She is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
And she's at Ms. Made in China on all the things.
And once you have followed us on social media, you followed the podcast on social media, you're gonna want to do some self-care, do some shopping, head on over and visit our internet besties, starting with Here Comes the Nerd. Go to herecomestenerd.com and use code FANGIRL for 20% off your first order.
Then you should head over to onceuponabookclub.com. I'm fairly certain the warehouse sale will be over at this point, but they were having a pretty epic sale. It seems like they're always having epic sales.
They really
whether it's
are.
A warehouse sale, a spring sale, a Black Friday sale. Keep an eye on their website and use code Mandy10 for 10% off. It's a win-win.
Yes,
Bookish
it really
goods
is.
And coupon codes. What could be better?
What
Having
could be
it
better?
with
Some grimoire tea / entrenching elixirs. We'll figure it out eventually. But for now, you're going to head over to grimoiretea.com and use code FANGIRLT to get 10% off your order. But remember, there's no I in fangirl. It's FANGRLTEA.
And with that tea, you're going to need the Fire and Starlight Saga. If you haven't listened to me at this point, you are a lost cause and I can't help you. Head over to amberdlewis.com and use code fangirl10 for 10% off your purchase. She's got a new novella coming out. She's got a novella series she's talking about that's all going to be in one bound book together. And the sneaks that she's shown have been chef's kiss gorgeous. Go get it. Listen to me. As Megan Trainor would say, I am your mother. You listen to me. Go get the Fire and Starlight Saga now.
You will not regret it. I promise you that.
No.
And remember, we will lie for you.
Yes.
If somebody is judging you for your spending habits, just let them know it was a gift from us. We sent you a present. It was a giveaway. You won a contest. Just let us know what the lie
give us a
is.
heads up and we will
there.
back you up.
We've been talking about the girl gangs. We are your girl gang.
We are your girl gang, even if you're not a girl. It doesn't matter. We're still your backup girlies.
We're here for you.
Yes. Don't forget to go listen to the Paranormal Mind podcast. It's out today too. Support our show husband, Joshy, in his endeavor. I'm going to make him set up a Incoherent Fangirl coupon code. I just haven't done it yet. Coming soon. And I guess that was the Incoherent
Fangirl. Thanks for listening.
We love you.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.